All right, we are back. Okay. Sorry, guys, we had some technical issues on this Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday wasn't, we're not doing too good on the cyber today. We lost our connection, but we are back up and running. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. So we got disconnected and lost our connection, and I don't know... I don't know how much of what I went through you all heard or not, because I don't know when we went off the air. So I'm going to have to go through a lot of that over again because it's important, and I don't want you to miss it. So, like I said, I don't know what part you heard, what part you didn't, but I'm going to go through it all again, because this is very important on this Monday after Thanksgiving. Because what's going on in this country right now is what the deep state has done around the world since they've existed. And it's kind of something we've accepted around the world. Now they're doing it here. Maybe they've always been doing it here to a degree and we didn't know about it. But what's going on now in this country is something that we have never seen before. And I've been talking about this Bring Back Bush deep state op that's going on, okay? And with the D.C. shooter, almost immediately after the shooting happened, one of the first things we heard about him was that he was a CIA guy, right? That came out before the guardsmen who were shot were identified. We heard that about him. I don't know how that got out so quick. Then over the weekend, it was reported that not only was the shooter a CIA guy in Afghanistan, his brother is CIA too. His brother's a platoon leader for some CIA combat unit. Now, how many of you knew that the CIA had platoons of soldiers in Afghanistan? I had no idea. I mean, I knew they were over there and did things, but I didn't know they had like combat units, platoons. Did you? So there's no doubt in my mind or anyone else's mind that's been covering this over the weekend, because I've heard other people talking about this, that the shooting in D.C. on Wednesday, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, was a deep state op, okay? This Bring Back Bush campaign that started with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and there's been many things in between. About 2 weeks before the shooting is when the Congress people put out that sedition video to try to turn the military against the president. And what they were talking about in that video, really what they were referencing, the context was they were telling guardsmen disobey the orders about going into the streets. There's something about Trump sending the National Guard in, who, by the way, the Guard in these American cities are just there as a presence. They're not doing arresting. They're not doing anything. They're just there to give a military presence as backup to the federal agents in these very scary areas that they're in. But for some reason, they don't like it. Maybe they don't want the crime to stop in the cities. Maybe that's how they keep control. I don't know. But that Congress video that they put out 2 weeks ago, over 2 weeks ago now, right? Is it coming up on, is it 2 weeks this week or 3 weeks this week? Well, whatever it is, they were talking to the National Guard. And they were trying to get the National Guard to disobey orders. Now, I want to play this video. This is Slotkin. She's the CIA senator. And this video is chilling. She made this video a month before the D.C. shooting on Wednesday last week, and a week or two before we saw the congressman's sedition video. Listen.
As a CIA officer, the idea that intelligence officers could be asked to target Americans turns my stomach, and it would shift us into a modern-day surveillance state. Turning the federal government against Trump's enemies goes hand in hand with his use of force in American cities, both federal law enforcement and the military. As of today, the president has attempted to deploy more than 7,000 National Guard members across 5 cities, including right here in Washington. In August, the administration ordered the creation of 2 new National Guard units, a standing quick reaction force that can deploy anywhere in the country, and then separately, National Guard units in all 50 states focused on quelling so-called civil disturbances. At this point, Trump has been very clear about his intent. At Quantico, speaking as commander-in-chief, he instructed his military brass to use cities as, quote, training grounds. And many times, he's floated the idea of invoking the Insurrection Act so that military units can raid, detain, and arrest Americans. The president has already deployed ICE and other federal law enforcement to these same cities across America. In some cases, these federal officers are playing fast and loose with their tactics, which sooner or later could lead to a deadly escalation. The videos out of Chicago are shocking.
Okay, could lead to a deadly confrontation, she said.
Federal agents pulling their weapons on highways, firing tear gas into neighborhoods right before a Halloween parade, injuring and even killing civilians. Many are masked, not wearing uniforms, and driving unmarked cars. For those of us who served abroad, it feels like another country. And it's only a matter of time before things get worse. By my estimation, we're about 2 weeks away from a bloody incident that spirals out of control.
Hear that?
And this is just the kind of incident that Trump wants to justify more force coming in.
She said we're about 2 weeks away, a month before the incident in D.C. on Wednesday. She was off by 2 weeks. This speech at the Brookings Institution that she gave is almost like it's predictive programming, isn't it? And then it didn't happen, so they made it happen because they thought, well, let me take our break for the bottom and get back on schedule because we had some tech issues. We'll take our bottom of the hour break. I'll finish up on this because, like I said, in the first seg, I don't know how much of what I said you guys heard or not because we went off the air briefly. So we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. We'll come back, and I'll finish up with this and then get to your calls because when I lost the connection, it cleared out everybody on hold. So I apologize, guys. I know some of you were on hold for quite some time. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. We are back from Thanksgiving. We'll be back after this break. Hey, Brian Craig here. You hear me talk with attorney Barry Siegel every day about how we can help you and your family. Now here's one of our listeners, Frances, sharing her experience of how attorney Barry Siegel made a difference in her life and took a weight off her shoulders.
I was really looking for something to help me secure my holdings, which is actually not a whole bunch of bank account, savings, and a house and a car for my 2 daughters. I was worried that if I had just a regular will, things would get tied up in probate, and that would take 2 years. So I heard on the radio about Barry Siegel, the attorney. I gave them a call, and immediately they were so kind. They were so nice. They assured me that they could help. I went over there, and they sat with me, and we went over everything, and I ended up with this wonderful trust for my 2 daughters. So if something does happen to me, things just turn over to them, and it'll make it so much easier for them. And it took a great load off of my mind as to how I would take care of my 2 daughters. I was very pleased with the attorney, Barry Siegel. Finding him helped me assure that my 2 daughters will be well taken care of in the event that I won't be here.
Give attorney Barry Siegel a call right now. Toll free, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com.
This is George Colony. I'm in the real estate business in Fort Lauderdale, Florida with Kai's Real Estate. I've been in business for 6 decades. People often ask me, what's the right time to buy or sell real estate? To tell you the truth, it's always the right time. You just need to have the right advice from the right advisor. You can call me anytime because I answer my phone on the first ring. My number is 954-801-7320. That's my personal cell phone number. And I answer it on the first ring every time. Please give me a call. I'm happy to answer any question that you have. My cell phone number is 954-801-7320.
All right. Well, we're in break on the radio for about another minute. And what happened is I lost my connection to the radio station, and it cleared out. I hung up on everybody on the phone because that's done through the internet, and it cut off the live stream. So I had to start a new live stream. But I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Sometimes that happens. Happened once last week. It's happened about, I don't know, maybe 3 times, 4 times since I've been using my home studio. It happens. It happens sometimes at the radio station too. It's just not so obvious. All right, 20 seconds. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. All right, so just to finish up on my recap of what happened with the D.C. Shooting on Wednesday, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So you heard Slotkin there. She says, by my estimation, within 2 weeks, and then a month later, that incident happens. They were trying to create a shootout in the streets of D.C. during a very busy time. That part of D.C. is a tourist area because it's so close to the White House. Plus, on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, there's a lot of people leaving work early to start the Thanksgiving weekend. So there's probably more people outside on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving in the afternoon than usual because people want to get out of there and start their long weekend. It's almost like a week vacation. It's 4 days, but it feels like a week, right? And they thought that there would be a shootout between the National Guard and this deep state Afghan Muslim terrorist, and there would be civilian casualties. And that would be Wednesday. We'd wake up on Thursday, see the aftermath of this shootout between the Guard, and people would be outraged of the civilian death because of the National Guard shootout. And by Monday, when America's back to work on this Cyber Monday, this is what they thought would happen, in my view. The American people would be calling for President Trump to withdraw the National Guard from American cities and then not do it in any other cities. It didn't turn out that way because the reaction of the National Guard was quick. It was swift. They took the guy down. They took him down quick. But I believe, I am 100% convinced that this was a deep state operation. Now, I'd like to ask you all if you agree or disagree with that. The number's toll free, 888-465-2631. Those of you who want to hold earlier, you're welcome to call back. When I lost the connection, it cleared out all the phone lines. 888-465-2631. Do you believe that the National Guard shooting, which killed the female guardsman. The other one it was reported today is expected to live. I hope those reports are true. Do you believe that was a random act of Islamic terrorism? Or do you believe it was a deep state op to do my premise to try to turn the public against President Trump and using the National Guard? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Others have talked about this over the weekend, and they're saying that they're trying to create a color revolution in this country. And a color revolution, they've had these in Ukraine, and we don't have things like that. But that's what they're trying to do in this country. This is going beyond trying to turn MAGA public opinion against our great president. They're trying to turn the military against him and the public. And when I say a revolution, I'm not talking about a violent revolution. I'm talking about a revolution where people are demanding that he resign or brings the Democrats back into power in the midterms and then the establishment back in power in 2028. That's what they're trying to do here. And I do believe it began with Charlie Kirk. And whatever people tell you, the assassination of Charlie Kirk was a major blow to our MAGA movement. We're going to feel it in the midterm elections. Turning Point USA is on life support. I know they're still in existence and they're still having events with Megyn Kelly and others. It's not the same. All this talk of all these people who wanted to start chapters. I haven't heard one story of the first adult chapter of Turning Point established anywhere. Have you? Turning Point is not in a good place right now. They don't have any clear organization. They don't have any clear mission. There's no clear leader. And the people that are out there doing the Turning Point events, Megyn Kelly, they're doing good work, but it's nothing like the days of Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk and Turning Point was a big, big part of our get out the vote. See, the American people are behind Trump. What these deep staters don't understand is this. Most everybody in this country is on Trump's side. Those that are not MAGA, that do not support Trump, are a minority. They're a fringe. They're a cult. They don't get it. Because in their circle, everybody hates Trump. So they assume everybody everywhere hates Trump. So they don't understand and they don't see what it is that they're doing and how ridiculous it is. With that being said, though, the midterm elections, it's December 1st. After New Year's, we're going to be in midterm election season. There's a reason why in the midterms, the party in power typically loses, whoever the president is, and I'm going to tell you what it is. Now, there's exceptions to everything, but the main reason is this. The party in power gets too comfortable. The groups of people that are not in power get energized because they hate who's in power, and it results in the party in office controlling everything losing. We need to have a turnout like it's a presidential election year, and we'll be fine. I don't know how many governors are up, but we've got the entire House, a third of the Senate. Well, there are some seats that are going to be up. Marco Rubio's seat is it was an appointee of DeSantis, but that seat is up in the midterms. So we got a Senate race in Florida. We've got Marjorie Taylor Greene's race and others where we're not going to have incumbents. We will win and be okay if we have a massive voter turnout and we don't have Charlie Kirk to walk the college kids and Gen Z to do it. So over the next year, well, it's less than a year. Over the next 10, 11 months, all of you that are MAGA, and I'm going to spend a lot of time, it's all about voter turnout. We have to be energized and mobilized and swamp them and have a presidential election year like turnout. We'll be fine. What these people are thinking about doing when they're back in power, this is beyond impeaching President Trump. They plan on putting everybody in jail, Pete Hegseth and all the others that are involved in this National Guard deployment. They're going to put them all in jail if they get back in the White House, if they get back in power. That's their plan. Stephen Miller, all of them, they want to put in prison for war crimes. I know they always say every time there's an election, this is the most important election of your life. Well, it is the most important election, every election, because it's the one you're dealing with and the one you're facing and the one that's coming up. And it's more important than past elections or future elections that we don't know who's the players are even. But it is, like with last year's election with the president. President Trump being reelected last year is the reason he's a free man. That judge in New York City would have sent President Trump to prison if he had not been reelected, right? Yeah. And that wouldn't have turned out well. If we don't win these next two elections, they're going to put everyone around Trump in prison. So it's all about voter turnout. When early voting comes around, vote early. Don't fall for these fake MAGA people that are trying to discourage you. Remember, Zohan only won in New York City because the media was successful in convincing people that he couldn't be beaten. So they had a low turnout on top of Curtis Sliwa. You combine the two of them, Mamdani's the mayor of New York. That could happen in the midterms if you let the media convince you that we're going to lose the midterms, because historically that's what happens with the party in power, and we don't have a massive voter turnout. We're in a whole new era now where these evil Satanists, because that's what they are setting up black op, deep state operations in our own capital to try to turn public opinion against President Trump. All right, those of you on hold, hang in there. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I was over at Friendly Tire the other day, and there was a listener getting used tires. And I couldn't even tell. They look like new tires to me. Man, those tires, they looked real good. And I asked Mike, because I don't talk to you guys or to Mike about used tires too much, because when you can get new tires as low as $75 out the door and on the road, I can't get my mind focused on used tires. But with some people, money's tight, and the tires, they look so good. I said, hey, Mike, I said, how much are the used tires right now? Because I haven't asked him what the price on used tires is for a long, long time. And he told me as low as $35 a tire. And these are good used tires. That's right. Used tires at Friendly Tire, as low as $35 a tire. And that's out the door and on the road too. Because with the used tires, he also doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or dispose of your old tires. So that's great. $75 as low as for new tires out the door and on the road. As low as $75 for new tires. And as low as $35 for used tires at Friendly Tire in Margate. Give Mike a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445. My name is Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. All right. Hold on. Let me see here. Where are we? If you're on hold, hang in there. I don't know why we lost that that connection, but we did. But we're back now. That's all that's important. Okay. Okay, we're going to be back in less than a minute. Because when we got knocked off, he ran some extra commercials to give me time to start the new feed. So this short breaks. All right, about 30 seconds, and we will be back. Yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Do you agree or disagree that this was a deep state operation? Everything that goes with it. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. All right, I've covered a lot. I'll take a call or two. I got so much to cover. This was the busiest Thanksgiving weekend I've ever seen so far as news goes. I've only just scratched. I mean, we're talking about Wednesday, right? And Thursday's story still. We've got a lot to cover. I'll take some calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Hey there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hold on. I mean, Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm calling from North Carolina.
North Carolina.
My name's Mark.
Hey, Mark, what's on your mind?
I'm calling because I think that.
Here we go.
Did you hear about the war in Ugandans?
Did I hear about what? Speak up.
The war in Ugandans.
No.
Yes, Ugandans nuts.
Oh, okay. That's hilarious. Isn't that brilliant? Grown men. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey there, my name's Jed. I'm calling from Tampa, Florida.
All right. Yes, what's on your mind?
I just want to say how much I love.
I'm sure you do. Oh, my goodness. This is what's happening. First Cyber Monday, it's one of those days. If you're on hold, stand by. Mark Kelly, who spends a lot of time shaving his head, doesn't he? He was on... Did you see Mark Kelly on Meet the Press over the weekend? Oh, my goodness. Mark Kelly on Meet the Press. I wonder if he shaves his own head or does his wife... Well, I guess, I don't know. Any of you guys out there go for the shaved look? How do you achieve that? You know, I shave as little as possible on my face, but he never has stubble. He kind of looks like Lex Luthor a little bit, a chubby Lex Luthor, you know, and about as evil as Lex Luthor. One of the things President Trump is doing is stopping all of the immigration from the third world countries, which is a pretty amazing thing. Now, Mark Kelly, you would think if you were Mark Kelly, what you would be doing right now is kind of keeping yourself on the down low, wouldn't you? Right? You know, Pete Hegseth has mentioned multiple times that they're thinking of recalling him to the Navy and investigating him and charging him with sedition. And instead of keeping a low profile, he continues to go out there and do all of these interviews. This is him talking about the new immigration policy. You know, we keep in mind, you know, we have, I don't know how many of these unvetted refugees in this country. Listen.
When I heard the secretary say that they're going to pause immigration from third world countries, I mean, I take that as a message that they don't want brown people coming to the United States.
Oh, my goodness. You know, the race card is the last-ditch effort of a Democrat who's in trouble. When a Democrat is in panic mode and they're sending up the bat signal or the SOS, it's the race card. He says third world countries is code for non-white people. What third world country are we taking refugees from that's a white country? There's one. See if anybody can figure it out. I'm not going to tell you. But all the rest of them, I mean, it's just a coincidence. What are we supposed to do? Because they're not white, we're supposed to let them come here and shoot our guardsmen? What is he suggesting?
I mean, I take that as a message that they don't want brown people coming to the United States. And I find that disturbing.
Oh.
We are a country
Rex
that
Luthor.
has always welcomed individuals that are struggling, that are fleeing famine and violence. And it would be a fundamental change to the fabric of our nation to change that.
Oh, my goodness. Kelly's nervous. He's afraid he's going to get court-martialed. He really is, or he wouldn't be talking. And if you look at him on Meet the Press, he is freshly shaven from the top of his head to his neck. I've never seen him so... You would think that he had... What's that disease that people have where they have no hair? He kind of... Does he have that? No, he has eyebrows. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey there, my name's Howard from...
Okay. Oh, my God. This is going to be one of those days, guys. It's going to be one of those days. If you're on hold, stand by. Alopecia. Yeah. You know, there's a number of things that they're doing here. After the top of the hour, by the way, we'll get into what's going on with Venezuela. And we'll get back to the call shortly. What they're doing is a number of things. But this is what I don't get with the Never Trumpers and these evildoers on the political establishment, permanent Washington class working against Trump. Why don't they just let him write out his term? You know, if they would have left him alone when he got elected the first time, he would be a year into his retirement right now. Now, he'd still have endorsement abilities and rallies to endorse candidates, but he would have done his 2 terms, and that would have been it. Right? I've even heard President Trump mention this a few times in rally speeches during the campaign. They should have left me alone. I wouldn't even be here running right now, right? So why are they continuing now? We're almost a year into this second term. Why not just write it out and make take that opportunity to try to get one of their controlled people in the White House in the next election in 2028? Why can't they let it go? Well, there's a number of reasons. I think one of the reasons is they're spoiled, insane, demonic children who are not in power right now, and they just can't let that go. But I do think there's also a fear among many of them that he is going to run in 2028 and that the law is going to be changed. I really do, because the way they're going after Trump right now, it makes no sense whatsoever. You know, it really doesn't. It makes less than 0 sense, in fact. If he only has this last term, why not leave him alone? Because everything they do, whether it's Charlie Kirk, the Marjorie Taylor Greene incident, this shooting in D.C., it makes Trump more popular, more influential, right? And people get red-pilled every day when they see it. It has an opposite effect, and they've got to know that. So there's something going on that has them in a panic. You know, shutting down USAID and all these things. You know, they're in a total panic stage. It's not just the permanent Washington class, it's the deep state. You know, another thing too, J.D. Vance gave an interview last week to Breitbart about the job numbers, about 119,000 jobs, 118,000 jobs created. Does that include the deportations? Because every deportation is a job created too, right? Or at least most of them. But one of the things that J.D. Vance talked about was that MAGA has to be united again. Well, I want to disagree with J.D. on that. I think MAGA is more united than ever. We just have a few people, Tucker, Candace Owens, Marjorie Taylor Greene, that for whatever reason are trashing Trump and trashing the MAGA movement and causing problems. But the MAGA movement are the rank and file voters around the country. And I think President Trump's support among MAGA is as strong as ever. That's why that CNN poll that I shared with you last week, among Republicans, President Trump has an 87% approval rating, which is what it was 6 months ago. That shows that MAGA is still strong and behind President Trump. We just have these vocal people in the media that are trying to sabotage him all the time. Now, here we are in a new month. It's December 1st. Are you in pain? Go see Dr. Appleton and say bye-bye to your pain. Don't go to your Christmas parties. Don't go to your Christmas celebrations. Don't do all that in pain. And here it is on Monday. Were you a little more active over Thanksgiving weekend? Maybe hanging up the Christmas lights on the house, whatever, and you're in pain? Go see Dr. Appleton. You know, his robotic laser is amazing. A couple of things about it. One, the 7 times that he's rid me of pain from a car accident, arthritis, falls that I've had, all 7 times, the pain not only is gone, it is never returned. And the first time he treated me was my knee over 3.5 years ago. None of the pains he's treated me for have returned because the robotic laser of Dr. Appleton's repairs the damage that's causing the pain. The other thing is this. It's not just a laser, it's a robotic laser. I leave the robotic part out a lot, and I shouldn't do that. I got to talk about that. The robotic laser, it actually moves around the area that's being treated. So what happens... And Dr. Appleton, he's the doctor. He knows how to do this. He's amazing. He's able to determine the exact spot where the pain's coming from. And of course, that's ground zero for the treatment, but the robotic laser, as an example, on my shoulder or my knee, and this was same with my arthritis on my, my hand and everything else. He starts the treatment right where that spot is. He determines it's coming from here. He gives you an examination. He can figure that out. He's highly skilled. But the robotic laser moves around. So like with my knee, it treats the entire knee, every angle, the top, the sides, the bottom, all the way around. So that area that's damaged, that's causing the pain, gets treated and repaired from every direction. Same for the shoulder, same for my hand when he treated me for arthritis. It's absolutely amazing. And not only is the laser treatment 100% painless, you don't even feel the treatment when it's being done, which is amazing, right? There's no downtime, no appointments necessary, and it works on pretty much every type of pain I've ever heard of. Well, not just every one. And I meet people all the time that tell me about new pain, stenosis, neck pain, tennis elbow, tinnitus, strains and sprains, sciatica, muscular contraction, lumbar pain, hip pain, knee pain, bursitis, bronchial neuralgia, arthritis like I used to have. Oh man, that arthritis pain was awful. Boom, after just two treatments, my pain gone. It has not returned. The arthritis was the one I was really nervous about, because when Dr. Appleton told me I had arthritis, I thought my life was over. My whole hand was going to be useless, and the pain's gone. It's been over a year. He treated me. Boom, the pain's gone. It has not returned, and certainly not spread to any other parts of my hands. It's amazing. And that pain had me almost in tears. It was so bad. So give Dr. Appleton a call. Remember, the consultation is free. Take advantage of that. If you have scans or x-rays, bring them with you. Dr. Appleton will gladly look them over. Walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. And now we're, the beginning of the month, a new week. The holidays are over. He's open normal hours this week, which would include Saturday. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. All right, in the next hour, we're going to get into what President Trump's doing in Venezuela. The things that President Trump is doing in this second term are things that I describe as universally good, meaning how could you be against them? And when it comes to Venezuela, he's doing something that no president has ever even attempted to do, and that's shut down the drug cartels, right? Who could be against that? Well, yeah, Democrats, the permanent Washington class, no doubt, and they're being very vocal about it. But the drug cartels have killed more Americans than Al-Qaeda and ISIS ever have, and I'll tell you this, I bet you the drug cartels are responsible for more American deaths than all of the wars this country has been involved in combined, including the Civil War. No doubt about it, by far. The biggest foreign threat to this country are the cartels, and he's the first president to actually do something about it, other than say war on drugs, which was a meaningless term. So I'll get into some details on that and much more after the top of the hour. Callers on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll take our top of the hour break and be back. Hey, Brian Craig here. You hear me talk with attorney Barry Siegel every day about how we can help you and your family. Now here's one of our listeners, Frances, sharing her experience of how attorney Barry Siegel made a difference in her life and took a weight off her shoulders.
I was really looking for something to help me secure my holdings, which is actually not a whole bunch of bank account savings and a house and a car for my two daughters. I was worried that if I had just a regular will, things would get tied up in probate, and that would take 2 years. So I heard on the radio about Barry Siegel, the attorney. I gave them a call, and immediately they were so kind. They were so nice. They assured me that they could help. I went over there, and they sat with me, and we went over everything. And I ended up with this wonderful trust for my two daughters. So if something does happen to me, things just turn over to them, and it'll make it so much easier for them. And it took a great load off of my mind as to how I would take care of my two daughters. I was very pleased with the attorney, Barry Siegel. Finding him helped me assure that my two daughters will be well taken care of in the event that I won't be here.
Give attorney Barry Siegel a call right now. Toll free 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
This is George Colony. I'm in the real estate business in Fort Lauderdale, Florida with Kai's Real Estate. I've been in business for 6 decades. People often ask me, what's the right time to buy or sell real estate? To tell you the truth, it's always the right time. You just need to have the right advice from the right advisor. You could call me anytime because I answer my phone on the first ring. My number is 954-801-7320. That's my personal cell phone number. And I answer it on the first ring every time. Please give me a call. I'm happy to answer any question that you have. My cell phone number is 954-801-7320.
Okay, we will be back in about 90 seconds. If you're on hold, hang in there. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no... how could you make a case against taking down the cartels? How could you even attempt to make a case against that? Unless you're like a junkie, right? You know, if you're a big drug dealer or a drug addict, you know, I'm talking about like normal people. Got about 1 minute, guys. All right, welcome back. Hour number 2 has begun. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig, and this is Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Anthony. I'm calling from Missouri. I'm actually running next year in the 7th Congressional District for the United States Congress. The cartels, what's going on down in Venezuela is actually a big point of mine, too.
Well, it's a big point for everyone. I mean, I don't know if there's a way to put a number on how many Americans are dead because of the cartels, but it's beyond millions. It's above the ODs. I mean, it's crime victims, children victimized by addict parents. I mean, there's no way to put a number. Even abortions. How many abortions?
Look at what's going on in our inner cities. Look at the meth epidemic, the problem, the drugs. that all stems from the cartel, not just the cartel, but it's also coming from the CCP. That's why Trump has to be so tough on China. It's not just coming across the border; it's coming across on shipments, cargo containers. So we've got to crack down on that. We can't let China. China will do it. Russia will do it. We've got foreign countries as well as the cartels that are pouring drugs into our country. So it's got to be more than just a stop on the cartels. But what the cartels have done is enough for Congress to get a declaration of war against the cartels.
Well, I don't know if we haven't had a declaration of war since the Second World War. They're not going to do that. But
exactly, they're not.
And I don't know if they want to do that. Have an official declaration of war against these cartels. It's kind of, just taking them out is what needs to be done. All this talk.
That's why the president's doing it like he is. Just the same way that we did with Vietnam. Can run it as a policing operation. It's safety. He's the commander in chief, and he has the authority to do that.
The thing about it is all this talk of inflation. I don't hear anyone talk about what the illegal drug prices are these days. They've got to gone up through the roof in the last 6 months. That's the inflation number I'd like to know.
Illegal drug prices.
Yeah, the illegal ones.
Even the illegal drug prices.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, listen, appreciate the call. Keep in touch as you run for office. What do you, you know what's coming next, right, from these deep state propagandists? Do you know what's going to happen? They're going to try to get some real fishermen killed by the military. Right? They keep telling us these are fishermen, and they're obviously drug boats. I'm expecting them to have start putting fishing poles and fishing gear and nets and stuff on these drug boats, and the next time they blow up a couple, they're going to show that to us floating in the water if there's anything left, and then we're going to see the wife and children of the fisherman who was killed because of Pete Hegseth's strike. That's what's coming next. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Wow. I certainly agree with you, man. I think it's certainly MAGA is united. If CNN says it's 87, it's either got to be 87 or higher. I would like to see it be 100%, but I'm happy with 87, and I think that everybody, I don't know anybody who says anything negative about who's MAGA. I hear, well, the Democrats want to destroy us, but that's too bad. And when you mention that they're trying to make a Bush comeback, that's about as likely. That's about, I think, as likely as Bud Light making a comeback.
But they don't know that. They don't know that. And if you go to the store, Bud Light's still for sale. People are buying it. I don't know who, but it's still there. I see it at Publix.
Yeah, it's there. Well, I mean, they're not going out of business, but they're certainly not. I don't know what their volume is, but I would imagine it's still.
I used to drink Bud Light. Bud Light, which kind of tastes like water, right? It's not a very strong tasting beer. A cold Bud Light was good on a hot day, or if you're out at a bar, you get it on draft or something on a hot day. No, I mean, no one orders it because if you order it, they'll think you're gay.
Yeah. Or there's something wrong with you, man. That's for sure. But so there's Bush. I think they could try. I guess they could try, but I think this is going to be a waste. And these people who are going against President Trump, man, that's the most annoying thing to see them lie, come up with stories that are ridiculous, that he's doing stuff that he's not doing, and they're just trying to keep their base.
These things that they're going against, who is against shutting down the cartels, right? And they're actually coming out against him doing that now. These fishermen, it's just like here in Florida, the property tax. They're going to tell us the property tax. We can't, even though it's only for homesteaded people, you can't do away with the property tax. And then they're going to tell us, President Trump was talking over the weekend of eliminating income taxes. They're going to argue against that. I mean, the things that they're taking positions against are insanely popular positions.
Yeah. It's amazing you said that. President Trump mentions that he wants to get rid of the income tax, and all of a sudden online there's all these people saying how the 16th Amendment was never ratified properly, and it's illegal, unconstitutional.
Whatever.
Man, they come out so fast. It's amazing. The internet is ready to so quickly.
All right, Doug. I appreciate the call. So if you're on hold, hang in there. The president had a press conference on Air Force One on the way back to D.C. from Mar-a-Lago last night. Here's one clip.
The people from different countries.
Okay, now what they're asking him about here is President Trump's going to stop third world people from coming into the country, right? And of course, they're having a fit on the left.
The people from different countries that are not friendly to us, and countries that are out of control themselves. Countries like Somalia that have virtually no government, no military, no police. All they do is go around killing each other. Then they come into our country and tell us how to run our country. We don't want them.
What are you talking about?
That's right.
You got to talk up.
She said how many countries? Is there a list?
Well, I guess we gave you 19, right? There's probably more than that.
Is that what you mean when you mean third world countries, those 19?
No, I don't think they're all third world, but in many cases they are third world. They're not good countries. They're very crime-ridden countries. They're countries that don't do a good job. They're countries that don't register from the standpoint of success. And we, frankly, don't need their people coming into our country telling us what to do.
That's right.
I'm talking about like Somalia, where you have a congressman goes around telling everybody about our Constitution, and yet she supposedly came into our country by marrying her brother. Well, if that's true, she shouldn't be a congressman, and we should throw her the hell out of our country.
Yeah, and he has the power to do that. He talked about later. You know, I was watching. You know, it's really amazing how this country has just been so abused by our leadership before Trump. You know, I was watching this video online over the weekend. This girl from Europe, from Germany, she married this American guy, and they moved to Munich. And they had to go and register. In fact, in Germany, everyone has to register where they live. And if you move, even if it's within the country or within the town you live in, you got to register with the government. And that's how they keep track of who's there. And he didn't throw some, what do you mean I've got to go register, you know, because I'm a foreigner? Yeah, exactly. You know, we're the only country in the world that has this uncontrolled, out of control immigration. And he's right on the money about Ilhan Omar. You know, these third world people are coming in and getting elected to local offices and in federal offices, and they're telling us that they want to run this country like Somalia, the Somalian way. That's crazy. Now, I want to talk about the Sloman's Home Security System offer, and this is a great Christmas gift. Listen to this. Sloman's Home Security is offering a free home security system with free professional installation and 24/7 central station monitoring, all for just $24.95 a month for 5 years. This is a great Christmas gift for your adult children who live out of the house, your grandparents, mom and dad, or a gift for yourself and your family in your home. $24.95 a month for 5 years. Just give them a call. That's 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. A free home security system and professional installation, absolutely free. Your Sloman's Home Security System includes a touchscreen keypad, 3 door or window sensors, a motion detector, notifications, and remote keypad access so you can check in anytime from anywhere. Give them a call, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. Callers on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. We'll be back right after this. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take calls after the break. Really? Isn't that something? Now, I want to remind you guys that the cyber sale at MyPillow.com is huge. I mean, look at this up. The Cyber Monday Super Sale going on, all with, of course, our promo code Kane at checkout. Look at this. My premium towel sets, 50% off for Cyber Monday. The Giza Dream Sheets, $29.98. You're saving over 50% off on those. The MyPillow's huge sales. Blankets, comforters, duvets as low as $25. The Children's Bible Story Pillow 5-pack, just $29.98 for the whole 5-pack. The kitchen towels and accessories, as low as $9.99, all with my promo code Kane. The My Pillow Cross that Mike Lindell himself wears, there's 2 different styles, 50% off with my promo code Kane. And, I was telling you guys, after this month is over, they're going to make the big decision if they're going to continue to sponsor the expansion of this show, the early show. It is going to be based on how well the Christmas shopping season goes. So please go to mypillow.com and use my promo code Kane at checkout for all of these humongous savings. Okay. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes, guys, on the radio. Okay, we've got about a minute, and we'll be back. Okay, about 20 seconds. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show, the Monday after Thanksgiving. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Sherry from Texas. How you doing?
All right, Sherry. What's on your mind?
Hey, watching CNN announce and show that, the 87% of Trump's approval rating. I don't know why anybody would be shocked by that. I mean, besides, the melting pot of the liberals and the Democrats out there. Mm-hmm. Also, I don't know how serious Trump is. I'm sure he's very serious. He typically does not mention anything of doing any act unless he's forthgoing with it, and that's putting troops on the ground over there in Venezuela. And, it's amazing how small Venezuela is and how big of a punch that they've had on America when it comes to drugs.
I can't even believe there's anybody left in the country, as many of them that they've sent here.
Exactly. And then I was watching, I'm not sure, I can't remember what show it was, and it was, is it Crockett? Is it Jasmine or Janine Crockett?
Jasmine Crockett. Yeah, Jasmine Crockett, yeah.
Saying, literally getting on air and defending these deportations, and shame on, the mega, Trump for sending all of them over. How dare him do that and only, send over the 2 that have committed the crime. Well, my gosh, that's just like taking a tumor and saying, oh, we have one huge cancer cell in the middle of that tumor. Let's just go ahead and cut that little cell out. Well, no, that's not how it works.
What President Trump's doing with Venezuela is amazing. So over the weekend, he ordered all the airspace cleared. And I love what he said. He sent out a message to the airlines, pilots, drug dealers, and human traffickers, and he closed down Venezuelan airspace, which tells us there's going to be military operations, probably surgical strikes. Mm-hmm. He had a phone call with Maduro, and it's being reported everywhere through the Miami Herald that they're telling him to get out, and then he puts up all these conditions. He wants to have global immunity. Maduro, I mean, who does he think he is? Global immunity.
Yeah. Right. And then you've got Crockett saying, well, you know what? If that's the case, you're going to deport every single one of them. We need to deport Trump. Let's deport Trump. And I'm thinking to myself, this is somebody running for a powerful seat? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, these are the kind of people that the Democrats just froth over. So anyway, I had that on my mind. I just wanted to call.
All right, well, appreciate the call. All right, take care. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. This is Richie. Good
hey,
morning
Richie.
to you. I hope you had a. Did you get my message I sent you with that billboard?
How did you send it?
Oh, I sent it on Messenger.
I get like 10,000 text messages, and over the weekend I've not gotten to all of them, so I know I've not seen it yet.
All right, this is a giant conspiracy. I see what's going on here. They on PBD podcast on Friday, they exposed everything. He was in shock. He called the people that put that billboard up total dirtbags to try to divide
what's
the
the billboard? I didn't see the billboard. What's the billboard?
All right, it was in North Carolina. There was a billboard put up with the Army soldiers. You didn't sign up for this. In other words, deploying the National Guard. You didn't sign up for this, and it was bought and purchased 5 days before any orders were given to put out the National Guard.
Yeah.
So in other words, it was done in advance because it was either leaked by somebody or somebody, and they knew what was going on. This is the shooting that happened with the poor girl, and the other soldier. All of this. What you see in Venezuela, it all comes together. Mark Kelly, it's a total, and the media, it's a total assault, all-out assault against President Trump for one particular reason, because they're in a total panic that if he wins this, if we win this next election, this is an election mode by these people. New York, the chaos that happened Saturday. I don't know if you saw that. The garbage can store, not one arrest. Yeah. This is chaos, and in other words, because they're scared to death. If we lose the midterms, they're going to try to impeach him. They're going to try. Everything's going to be thrown at him. So they're doing it now. They're trying to muddy the waters, make it so bad. It's all about the
what they're trying to do. A lot of people listen. What they're trying to do is create what's called a color revolution. They're trying to turn public opinion against the president as an election tactic in the midterms, so people will be so fed up that they'll vote Democrat. That's what they're trying to do.
150%. This is all about an election. This is how sick these people are.
Yeah.
They will pull every stop. They will do everything. And everything he's doing is the correct thing to do.
But it's like I said earlier. I was talking at the end of the last hour. What our entire President Trump has an 87% approval rating among Republican voters. Those are the only people we need to care about. The others aren't going to be voting for him no matter what. We need to have next year for the midterms. We need to have a massive turnout like it's a presidential election year. If they thought that it was a sure thing, they wouldn't be setting up shootings in D.C. and all this stuff. They're doing everything in their power. Getting Congress people to resign and that are MAGA and everything else. They're terrified that we're going to win the midterms. So that means it's in play.
That's what it's all about. Yeah. And this is, you said last week, the midterms, we won't start talking till January 1st, then we'll be in election mode. These people see numbers. Like you always say, they got numbers that they see. They're in a total panic that they're going to lose the midterms, and we're going to take total control of Congress.
Well, Richie, what I was talking about earlier, what I was talking about at the top of the show, this was a deep state op. This shooting, and they were hoping
the whole thing.
They were hoping for a shootout that would get civilians killed to turn public right before Thanksgiving when all the families are together to deal with it over Thanksgiving dinner. And on this Cyber Monday, the American people would be calling on President Trump to withdraw the National Guard. The National Guard response in D.C. was so quick and swift that didn't happen the way they planned, but it was a deep state op.
Right.
The shooter is CIA and his brother's CIA. Come
everything.
on.
It's all comes down. They figured even if a civilian if it didn't get shot, that the American people would turn against the military being in the cities by having somebody.
That's right.
And especially his first target was a woman. He purposely targeted and saw it was a woman.
That's right.
So this is so obvious to me. I mean,
targeting the woman. People may wonder why. There's been a lot of studies done with combat troops. Israel had problems with this. When there's a female soldier down, the men in the unit will take risks they wouldn't take for a man to protect a woman. So the reason he targeted the woman and shot her first was to try to distract the other soldiers to go and help her, as opposed to fight back.
Also to outrage America that a female young girl or young lady, a girl, 20 years old,
a child.
I mean, this is So this is to me. This so. I can't even. Mark Kelly, he's a bad actor, man. I'm not even talking about his actions. He's a bad actor. They're all actors, but you could see he's terrible.
Mm-hmm. All right, Richie, I gotta run for the break, but I appreciate the call. And I want to tell you guys, Thanksgiving was Thursday. Did you guys eat a lot? I did. Oh my goodness. I have one piece of pumpkin pie left. Yeah. Well, listen, it's okay. It's okay if you put on a few pounds over Thanksgiving. A lot of people did. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Set up your no-charge consultation. Lose that weight before your Christmas party, before your New Year's party, before you get together with your family over the holiday season. 561-247-6300. I've not weighed myself yet. I'm going to weigh myself today and see if I gained any weight over Thanksgiving, because I did. I love turkey. We had turkey. We had ham, mashed potatoes, pumpkin pie. Oh man, green bean casserole. We do it all up on Thanksgiving, man. Not cutting any corners on Thanksgiving. I haven't weighed myself yet. I will today. And if I gained a couple pounds, I'll just get back on Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Give them a call. Lose that weight before your holiday event, guys. It's easy. I lost 25 pounds in 3 weeks. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. Remember, they can help you lose weight no matter where you are in the United States. Online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We'll be right back.
This is George Colony. I'm in the real estate business in Fort Lauderdale, Florida with Kai's Real Estate. I've been in business for 6 decades. People often ask me, what's the right time to buy or sell real estate? To tell you the truth, it's always the right time. You just need to have the right advice from the right advisor. You could call me anytime because I answer my phone on the first ring. My number is 954-801-7320. That's my personal cell phone number. And I answer it on the first ring every time. Please give me a call. I'm happy to answer any question that you have. My cell phone number is 954-801-7320.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Sandra. I'm calling from Delray Beach. The Barry Siegel Law Group did such wonderful work for me, and I was very particular. I'm a professional myself, and I went to about 3 or 4 attorneys prior. They wanted to do what they wanted to do. They didn't want to add anything extra, but Barry tailored it to my needs. And it's not only the trust. There's so many other end-of-life documents, the living will, the will, and I tailored each one of them to my liking, and they were wonderful and always, always polite. Never showed any aggravation or because I contacted them many times. Always polite. And not only that, when you finish your documents and you leave this world, your beneficiaries could go there and they'll explain everything to them, which is a big deal because a lot of these beneficiaries or heirs, they're not cognizant of what to do. I just wanted to let you know that the Siegel Group is above and beyond any other attorney that I have ever contacted. Plus, they give you a big portfolio at the end with a leather-bound documents. It's beautiful.
Give the Siegel Law Group a call, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. We're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Hank from Hollywood. How you doing?
All right, Hank. What's on your mind?
I called Tom Laporta at Tom Laporta Roofing. He sent out Scott. Now, Scott is absolutely the best. Scott and Scott's crew are the absolute best. They gave me a great price. They did the job when they said they were going to do it. They finished the job when they said they were going to do it. The materials they used, absolutely the best. I want to thank Tom. I definitely want to thank Scott and definitely want to thank Scott's crew. These people are number one, and I just want your listeners to know, Tom Laporta at Tom Laporta Roofing. If you need a new roof, call Tom at Tom Laporta Roofing. You're not going to go wrong. You're not going to be disappointed.
Do what Hank did. Call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing on his cell phone, 954-604-4602, 954-604-4602, and online, LaportaRoofing.com. All right, we got about 90 seconds, Steve.
Okay. We'll try to get a burst going here and see if we can turn it into calls.
There's calls.
Yeah, but I want to get away from this column that's taking over.
Don't worry. No one's taking over. I got 30 seconds.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. It is the Monday after Thanksgiving. Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve.
Good morning. How are you today?
All right.
I got to tell you, it's infuriating listening to this stuff. I want to get on
Richie's bandwagon there. I think he's right on the money. There is a very small but highly organized group of anti-Trump people. I think they're financed by, I don't know, I don't want to get paranoid, but I think they're financed, these people, a lot of them, by George Soros money. And we used to talk about them all the time, seminar callers. These are people that are paid to disrupt the narrative, that's the word I'm looking for, on Trump. And Richie had it right on the money. They're attacking prior to the election. They're trying to destroy the interest and momentum on the Trump side, and they're very successful. I think that they...
Well, they're trying, but...
they know what they're doing. They're not... These people are not amateurs.
They think they know what they're doing, but it's not working. You know, I was talking about this at the top of the show. This incident in D.C. was part of their plot. This was not some lone Afghan terrorist. This was a CIA guy, right? It was reported right after the shooting. He was in the CIA in Afghanistan, and his brother worked with the CIA too. And everything they're doing, they're trying to turn public opinion against him for the election, for the midterms. That's yes.
Yes, I think that's true. We're starting at that common point of agreement.
But the fact that everybody sees it, and it's been, the shooting happened on Wednesday, and everyone's been talking about it. It's been 5 days now, right? Everyone's been talking about what it is. They haven't pulled it off. What they're doing is so obvious. Everybody, and so it's not working.
Well, it's obvious to you, but it's not obvious to a lot of people. I mean, they take narratives. The difference between your position and my position is I think they wait for these things to happen and jump on them and then organize them. That's how I think it goes. I don't think they plan the actual event. I think they pick up on these events as they occur in the public view.
No, this thing in D.C., Steve, I'm telling you, this was part of the same operation with the video. And that video the Congress people put out, they were talking to the National Guard. That's who they were talking to, that it's unlawful for you to be deployed to American cities, right? That's who they were talking to. And then this incident happened. And I think they thought there would be a shootout between the Guard and this guy.
They were there to blow it. What they do is they take events that happen in the news and they organize them from there. And they organize the reaction. And they try to create a feedback against the president. And Mark Levin had a great show. I don't know if you had a chance to see it this weekend. But he talked about how there's a malaise in the country and how all it takes for us to lose power is for people to get tired of the mishegas, of all the I don't know how to put it, but agita that goes on around these things. And that when the public gets incensed enough and they pick up on enough, the difference between your position and my position is I don't think they necessarily plan the events. I think they're charged with taking these events when they happen and organizing them.
Out of all the Afghan Muslim terrorists in the country, it just so happens that the shooting was done by a guy who worked with the CIA and whose brother his brother led a platoon of fighters for the CIA. Out of all of the gin joints, he walked into ours, right? I mean, come on. What are the odds that this terrorist is a CIA guy and his brother is too? No, I think they were behind it. We're not really disagreeing over much, right? It's what they're trying to accomplish is we definitely agree on. They're trying to create. They want to make this country feel like it's 1968 when there were all these uprisings and problems and everything else. That's what they're trying to do.
They do have their eye on the election, and they do want to see to it that the reason they're doing it now is because they feel they have an opportunity to. That's what they do. They look at these events that happen in the news, and they find useful idiots like this astronaut Mark Kelly or whatever. who play into their plot without realizing that they're being used.
Yeah.
And then they become players in.
See, Steve,
the script.
I was doing, I didn't take off over the weekend. I was still doing shows over the weekend and taking calls.
I suspected you might.
Well, because there was a big news event. I mean, I was going to take the whole weekend off, but the shooting.
You're very conscientious.
But here's the thing, though. Every MAGA person in this audience, except you, believe that the people behind the video were behind the attack in D.C. And I didn't see Mark Levin, but I understand what he's talking about. The reason that the midterms are usually lost by the party in power is because there's so much conflict. People are like, oh, if we vote for the other party, the fighting will stop, right?
I think that's real, and I think it's happening, and it scares the crap out of me.
I don't think it's happening this time because people are aware of what they're doing. The only thing that can cost us the midterms is if we don't have a massive turnout. If we have
this is going to, I think events like this that they've kind of blown out of proportion. Not that it's not a horrible event, but that they're using the event for their purposes. That's how they plan on dulling enthusiasm for Trump during the election.
These events. I just while we were talking, I pulled up the Wings Plus website.
Yes.
The Sample Road location, about a mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample Road in Coral Springs.
Right?
Well, rarely do I stray from the Wings because I love the Wings, right? Listen to this, Steve. This is on Mondays and Tuesdays, and today is Monday.
Right.
This is with ribs. Listen to this. This is on Mondays and Tuesdays. Purchase a full rack of ribs, get a half rack free.
Wow.
Oh my goodness! And there, you know what? I just found something I've never had at Wings Plus. I thought I had the whole menu. The Reuben.
The Reuben. I haven't even seen that on the menu.
No, I don't know. Is it new?
It must be.
And Brian from Wings Plus, that he has photographs of it. It is like all their other sandwiches, overstuffed. I don't even know how they make money, right, on these sandwiches. I mean, it's so overstuffed. You know how lunch meats.
The food is just spectacular.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So there's a bunch
of Monday Night Football, a great place to mix it up and for listeners to meet and talk and have great fun and camaraderie while they watch the games.
Mm-hmm.
And this is football season, no doubt about it, coming into the playoffs, and no place to get your party goods if you're having a football party. Order the wings and stuff before the game starts, and you pick them up at halftime. You don't even have to wait. They'll be there waiting for you, steaming hot, crispy and delicious.
Yeah, and there's and when it comes to the wings, by the way, there's some specials. They vary on different things. So when you call or stop in, they'll let you know. But there's some specials on the wings platters if you order 25 wings. For your football party. There's some specials on that. Wings Plus is in Coral Springs, about a mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample Road. You cannot miss them. And the number is 752-4460, area code 954-757. Hold on a second here. Yeah, 954-752-4460. And online,
the place with the politically elite meet.
And yeah, that's right. And online, wingsplus.com. And now I'm hungry. Oh my goodness. And I don't have any wings, and they're not open yet because it's only 7:44 in the morning. All right, listen, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Here's another thing. You know what really ticks off the Never-Trumpers? When he gets good health reports. Listen to this.
Governor Walz asked you to release MRI records.
Will you tell us what it was
Governor Walz? You mean the incompetent Governor Walz? So if they want to release it, it's okay with me to release it. It's perfect.
What were they
It's like my phone call where I got impeached. It's absolutely perfect. So if you want to hear about it or if you want to release it, do you want to have it released?
Yes,
News Nation? Failing News Nation?
No, sir, we're not
News Nation is doing lousy, by the way. But if you want to have it released, I'll release it.
Yes, please. Can you tell us what they were looking at?
For what, releasing?
No. What part of your body was the MRI looking at?
I have no idea. It was just an MRI. What part of the body? It wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. I got a perfect mark, which you would be incapable of doing. Goodbye, everybody. You too.
They just can't handle the good health reports. They just can't handle it. Oh, here's the on the reverse immigration is what they're calling it now. It's a new term.
What do you mean by reverse migration?
It means get people out that are in our country. Get them out of here. I want to get them out. We got a lot of people in our country that shouldn't be here, and they came in through Biden, and he was the worst president in the history of our country. But the single biggest thing he did was allow millions of people into our country that shouldn't be here. Drug dealers, prisons were opened up and allowed to come into our country. You take a look at the people that were allowed to come into our country. We're paying a big price for it, and we will for years to come, including the recent killer of two wonderful National Guards people. And I'll tell you what, that animal should not have been allowed to come into our country.
Exactly.
You've spoken with Andrew Wolfstaley. Can you give us an update on
I have spoken to both families. Well, I mean, I can give you an update. They're devastated. Does that make sense to you?
Of course.
They're devastated.
Can you give us an update on Andrew Wolfstaley?
Well, as you know, the one is no longer with us, and Andrew is fighting for his life. And his parents are unbelievably great people, highly religious people, and they're praying, and they want everybody to pray for Andrew, and he has a chance to make it, but he is, his mother and father, they were so unbelievable. They were so positive. From West Virginia, great state. I spoke with Sarah's parents, too, and the only thing I can say, they were devastated.
Do you plan
They can't even believe it.
Yeah, he's invited both families to the White House. Oh, my goodness. I know, isn't it terrible? It sure is terrible. It is. I mean, it's just the worst. Oh, here's on the phone call with Maduro.
The New York Times reported that you had a phone call with Maduro. Did you?
I don't want to comment on it. The answer is yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about
I can't do that.
Would you say it went well?
I would say it went well or badly.
Yeah, well, we'll find out soon enough, right? We'll see. Listen to that. Here's Kelly.
You mentioned that you were a captain in the Navy. If you received that order, would you have carried it out?
No. No, and I'm a guy who, I have sunk 2 ships. You know, I've sunk an OSA-2 missile patrol boat in Kuwait Harbor, a Palnakni troop carrier in the Persian Gulf during the first Gulf War. I never, in that situation, questioned whether those strikes were legal. We were given an order to do this. It was a time of war. These were Iraqi ships with Iraqi crew members who posed a threat to the United States military, in this case.
Drug dealers don't.
They invaded Kuwait. We're trying to kick them out of Kuwait. This was approved by Congress. All of that, right? So, but if I was ever given an order for a second, I've had questions about the operation in general, and I've been saying this for weeks.
Wow, what a monster. All right, Steve, you there?
Yes, I'm there.
All right, I got 1 minute.
Okay, you call me after the show. Okay, you're doing good.
All right. All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Steve is here. You know, the next thing they're gearing... I'm going to tell you what the next thing they're gearing up for. Kelly was on the Sunday shows this weekend. Okay?
Yeah, they got a lot of miles left on Kelly.
Well, I think he's worried. I mean, he's doing too many media appearances. He's thinking that'll protect him because he knows he could be... Pete Hegseth's talking about recalling him and court-martialing him.
I think he's going to be recalled, and I think he's going to be court-martialed.
And he should be. I mean, what he's doing...
I think he knows it.
Well, he went on CNN over the weekend, and he's hardly recognizable because he's gotten hair treatments for his whole face, right? You know, he goes for that Mr. Clean look in general, but his face looks...
treatments for his face.
Yeah, when his head. You know, I mean, he does have eyebrows, but to me, he looks like Lex Luthor, you know, a little bit.
Sounds a little bit like him as well.
Yeah, not the Gene Hackman one, the Kevin Spacey Lex Luthor. But he went on CNN yesterday, and, you know, he's, when he's not telling you he's an astronaut, he's telling you he was a fighter pilot, you know? And he was talking about airstrikes that he carried out when he was in the Navy. And he said on CNN over the weekend that if he was given an order when he was in the Navy to take out these drug cartel boats, he would have disobeyed the order, that they're not lawful orders. So he's continuing the sedition, right?
And they're continuing to promote it.
Well, yeah. So the next phase, and see, this is what we're going to find out, is where our disagreement is. Are these people creating these incidents, or are they taking advantage of incidents? They keep telling us these are fishermen, right, with no fishing poles, no nets, just sealed barrels and the fastest speedboats that exist, speeding full speed away from Venezuela. The next thing will be they're going to put some fishing poles and fishing equipment on these boats.
I heard that theory that you said. I think you're right on the money with that.
And then we're going to see a woman with children who are going to claim that their fisherman husband was blown out of the water by Trump and Pete Hegseth. That's going to be the next, and they're going to be Venezuelan. That's going to be the next stage of their propaganda war. Yeah.
For our listeners, so that when that happens, you'll know it wasn't a surprise.
No, I mean, I want to be out in front of being the first one to make that prediction, because they can call them fishermen all day, but there's no fishing poles or fishing gear, and they're certainly not commercial fishermen. You know, they don't use speedboats. Commercial. You don't even go fishing in a speedboat, right? You know, it goes fishing in these. I don't know what kind of boats these are, but they're like the modern day version of the cigarette boats. You don't go fishing in cigarette boats and stuff like that. Hold on, Steve. I want to answer some of these lines coming in. But this is what I can't figure. Maybe you have an answer for this, Steve. Okay, are you with me?
I'm with you.
Okay. If they would have left President Trump alone in his first term, he'd be retired now, right? His second term would have been over about a year ago. He'd be retired. Why? You know, if he only has this one last term left, why are they going into overdrive, doing such stupid, outrageous things to stop him? Why don't they just let him ride out his term?
I got an answer for you if you want it. The reason they're doing it is because if they let him go on his own, and the time he has remaining, without distractions, he'll accomplish everything he wants to accomplish.
Yeah.
And that means it threatens their existence.
See, my guess is their internal polling data is showing that the midterms are hopeless for them, and that JD and Marco are incredibly popular to be the president in the next elections. And they don't see any path other than doing this monkey business to have a chance of getting back in power.
Well, but it's a two-step process. One is knocking him out of power, and then taking that event, and then parlaying it into a victory in the election.
All right.
That's what they're doing.
Well, let me give out the number. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631.
And if anyone saw that if anyone saw that
Victor Davis Hanson?
David Hanson show with Mark Levin, he put it perfectly. I wish I'd written it down, but I didn't get his wording.
I didn't see it, but I know what people are saying is what I've been saying, and I imagine Victor Davis Hanson said a version of this. They're trying to create a color revolution in the United States. That this is
exactly right.
Yeah.
And also the riots in New York that occurred over the weekend.
Yeah.
That wasn't spontaneous.
No.
That's all paid for.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Let me take a call or two as we approach the top of the hour. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah. All right. Let me take a call or two as we approach.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You're on the.
Hey, I'm Ian, and I'm calling from Germany.
All right, Germany.
Where are you calling from?
Turn down the volume in the background.
Yeah, I thought that.
Okay, what's on your mind?
What city? Well, first of all, what city are you from in Germany?
What?
What city are you from in Germany?
I'm from Dingolfing.
I'm from where?
Dingolfing.
Okay, whatever. All right, what's on your mind, Germany?
There we go. Set up call.
Oh, boom. The seminar call. You know, the thing about seminar callers...
Did he hang up?
Yeah, he hung up. I didn't hang up on him. He hung up. He hung up. I didn't hang up on him. You know, the thing about... I just want to tell people what they are. Rush Limbaugh coined this term, seminar callers. And we use it a lot without explaining what it is, and people that didn't know Rush don't know what that is. Seminar callers, it's not just that they're not necessarily fake callers or trolls or crank callers, whatever you want to call them. They're people that the opposition put out there to call shows to try to get narratives going, false narratives going, distract.
They're trained.
Yeah, but we're better than the average person when it comes to this, so they don't do so well around here. And a lot of people, I hear this from people in the audience. They're like, you guys don't seem to get upset. No, I don't. I consider the seminar callers a badge of honor. It's a sign of our success that we've reached a level where the DNC is like,
well, the way to handle him is simply by getting him off their script. He had a whole spiel he was going to deliver.
Yeah.
And I asked him a simple question: what town in Germany?
He couldn't think of one.
It wasn't on his script.
He couldn't even think of one.
He started stammering and stuttering.
He couldn't even make one up. Berlin, Munich. He couldn't even make one up.
Exactly.
I mean, it was like, give me a break, He tried
to make one up, but it was one no one ever heard of.
Exactly, even him. And he kind of mumbled it out because it wasn't even like a real word. It was just more like a throat clearing. But I take that as a badge of honor that the DNC thinks that they need to interrupt our narrative that they think we're putting out there or try to get a false narrative going through us. That's awesome. I appreciate it. But I've noticed that the new wave of seminar callers, the last wave, they were all from Kentucky. The new wave, a lot of them are from other countries. I don't know why they think
Germany's very popular, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Listen to this, Steve. I was over at Friendly Tire in Margate the other day. One of our listeners was there getting used tires.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even tell they were used tires. And Mike said, no, those are used tires. I said, what? The used tires are so good they look like new. So I said, how much are the used tires? Because we don't talk about the used tires too much, right? You can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $75 a tire. And that's such a good deal, I ignore the used tires. But I said, how much are the used tires? He said as low as $35 a tire. I said, what? For that tire you put? He's like, yeah, as low as $35 a tire. And that's also out the door and on the road as well, because whether it's new or used, Friendly Tire does not charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or dispose of your old tires. He's got all the name brands you know and love. Give him a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. All right, we got 1 hour to go. If you're on hold, hang in there. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. Our number is toll-free 1-888-465-2631. We'll be back right after our top of the hour break. All right, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve, for a minute. Hold on. All right, Steve, we got 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to keep you on, so I won't lose
Yes,
you.
yes. And be careful, because this is where we always lose each other.
No, I got you. I got you. Oh, my goodness. The Drudge Report.
If you ever get a chance to go to the website of Mark Lubin, catch just the end of the last half hour of his show.
Okay. All right, we got about a minute, a little over a minute.
It's unbelievably right on the money. I was trying to get a rerun all weekend and I couldn't find it.
Okay, about 30 seconds. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane is here. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, back on this Cyber Monday. You know, see, the reason I think that this is all this is a coordinated effort is because I'm watching the news so closely, all right? And can I walk you through a couple things with this?
Yeah.
Steve? Okay. And I'd like to, by the way, weekend's over. I'd like to hear from some coherent callers today. We've been a little light on coherent callers. We've had a handful, but mostly it's been, seminar callers and lunatics today. I get it. People got to get back to work. But there's some important things going on. And this goes into what you were talking about, Steve, with the messaging. And I'll start with the shooting on Wednesday, and then I'll give you the updates on what's happening today. I think that they planned the shooting, and the reason they planned the shooting is because it was the day they were trying to create Kent State 2. And in Kent State, if you're not familiar with Kent State, catch up, okay? But one thing that's left, Kent State was a big turning point in the war in Vietnam, wasn't it? I mean,
Yes.
it really turned public opinion. And what's left out of the history of that is those students were attacking the guardsmen. They were throwing things at them and attacking them. I'm not justifying the shootings at Kent State, but they were under attack. They were trying to get a crossfire going to get civilian deaths in D.C. so that everybody in Thanksgiving is a holiday that everyone in the United States celebrates. So that on Thanksgiving dinner, everybody would have the game on, but the news breaks would be coming in, and the discussion around the table would have been the Thanksgiving weekend massacre with the guards and with National Guardsmen in a crossfire killing civilians. That was their plan. I go to and by